Education is partly about personalities. You can't disconnect it. Just like we follow people, right? That's what we follow in life. That's what social media is. Yeah, we follow people we relate to, follow people we understand, or we think we understand, we think we relate to, and who knows what the truth is of what is what on social media and so on. I mean, it's a big rabbit hole to try to explore and to understand. So you can't, the fundamental key element of all education is the teacher or tutor or mentor or coach, or however you want to view that person, perhaps taking all of those roles. And that's an individual person, right? And we want to regulate and standardize education, but education is truly about an individual's passion for what they do. If your physics teacher is not passionate about physics, if your chemistry teacher is not passionate about chemistry, if your English teacher is not passionate about English, forget it. Nothing will move because there'll be no emotion to create the motion. Yeah, there'll be no personality there in terms of being able to express your joy and your love and your passion for the thing that you're trying to do or what you're trying to communicate to people. Everyone remembers going to school and being in a classroom with a teacher who was boring because the teacher didn't love what they did.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't really passionate. I mean, I had a history teacher who was very knowledgeable about history, but he wasn't able to communicate his passion
Mm-hmm.
about the topic, and that made history very boring for the entire school, basically. And then I had a geography teacher who was extremely passionate and able to communicate their passion about geography, and so everybody loved geography.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that history was boring and geography was exciting, it's the teacher, it's the mediator, it's the person who brings you to the topic. And it's in essence, it's a microcosm of the cult of personality, right? There is no politics, there's only people, and people follow people. You don't, people tend not to follow the party or the organization, they tend to follow the individuals within the organization who they admire or respect or relate to in that aspect. And as a result, it's the teacher who is key to absolutely everything. And the teacher is an individual person who, if you standardize them and turn them into a product, then, it's like all Samsung TVs, they'll just end up looking the same and acting the same. And that doesn't transfer any joy to people at all. And so you can't separate the person you can't really separate the person from the role unless you become an actor and your role becomes your life, but then that's not who you are. That's getting complicated into psychology, but yeah, this is the simple thing to understand is that it's the teacher that makes the difference, right? If when we understand that in all areas of life, you want to communicate in a topic with people who are passionate about the topic. Yeah, if your car is broken, you want to take it to a mechanic who loves to fix cars, not someone who's like, oh God, no, not another problem. And all work is problems to solve. That's what work is. That's why people get paid. Otherwise, everybody would do it for free and it would be easy. You're paid because it's a problem and it's difficult and someone needs to solve it. That's why we get paid. If if we get paid, right. But you're not paid to do a job. You're paid to solve problems that need to be solved in the world. That's the economic function that we have. Hopefully we find something that we are semi-passionate about in order to survive economically. But I guess what I want to say is that the personality, the person's experience, the personality is a result of experience and habitat and things. And so there's no way that you can openly and honestly and helpfully communicate with people unless you are 100% yourself in what it is that you do. And so that's why personal questions are very often extremely relevant and pertinent, because it's what makes us who we are and puts us where we are. And yes, a professional has a job to do, but nothing that is done for the right reason can hurt. People can, if you ask the wrong question, but for the right reason, then it's an accident and everybody understands. If it's from the heart, I would argue it's very difficult to say 100% of the time, right? It's very difficult to talk in absolutes, but I would say, we do sometimes in some places. Look, if we're empathetic people, we learn how to judge whether or not to ask the question. And if we're not sure and we're empathetic people, we ask if we can ask. Do you mind if I ask you about? No, that's one of my, I haven't done this today, but maybe in the future, I don't know. One of my communication techniques with clients is sometimes to ask my clients to ask me 3 questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, be any questions at all. It doesn't have to specifically relate to the main topic, because there's always more in every topic, in every situation, in whatever is happening. All we ever see is a tiny, tiny, tiny little piece of a very, 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 very large picture in whatever we do. And so making those connections to understand what's more, look, we've all had the student in the class who's not focused. And we know that if we don't connect with the student, they're never going to be focused. And so in order to connect to the student, you need to know the student. It's like, John, you're not focused. Did you go out last night? Did you go to a party? Did you have a few drinks? Are you tired? Has your dog just died? Until we get that extra information, we don't know how to interact with them as a human being. Yeah, otherwise it's just a fun, I'm just a teacher. I'm just here to transfer information. It's like, no, that robots can do that, right? Yeah, that's what machines are for. Teachers have a more empathetic function to perform in their role. Teachers are to soften the blow of the information. Information and knowledge is a difficult human experience. And the reason for teachers existing is to transfer that information, which is difficult, softly to the student, so that they're able to absorb it in the way that they need and find a relevance for it in their life. Because if it's not relevant, it'll never be useful. And so personal questions are sometimes necessary just to keep going, because we're all human beings. Yeah, we're all taxi drivers. Just think of that. The famous, like, the taxi driver likes to talk to the person who gets in the car, and oh, you're going somewhere. Why are you going there? What's wrong? Tell me a bit more. Blah 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 blah. And that connection builds the trust, and through, you know, no like trust. That's it's a very old order of things, but you know, and you have to know a person, then you have to decide whether you like certain aspects of their personality, and then you decide if you can trust them. Yeah, trust is it's conversation for a different day. What is trust, and how do we evolve trust in education? But you, to be real, you can't escape who you are, and that's what builds the communication with people. It's like when someone shares with you something negative about their life, you sort of begin to bond with them emotionally. Yeah. Not that that's always a good thing, but it's just an example. All right. So it's okay. Any questions are okay. You know. And final point. Any question that's a hard question is an important question, for whatever reason. Yeah, is an important question. Every door that you can't open is a door you need to open. But that's another psychological thing for the future.